Hello and welcome to the Instant Money Multiplier. In this training tutorial, I'm going to show you how to instantly create a quantum shift in your business and your personal life and completely eliminate overwhelm, confusion, and frustration forever. I know that sounds like a bold statement, but I guarantee you this is no gimmick, no trick. This is a real strategy that is used by the most successful entrepreneurs in the entire world, regardless of their industry. What I want to share with you today is a fundamental principle that every wealthy entrepreneur understands, and unfortunately, 95% of struggling entrepreneurs never take the time or energy to focus on. Now, this is a relatively short tutorial. However, it might not appear as sexy and fascinating as a lot of the hypey training that's out there on the internet right now. But I really want you to understand what you're going to get from this training. Now, let's be honest here for a second. If you're listening to this tutorial right now, I can guarantee that you can most likely relate to one of these statements. Right now, in your business and in your life, do you feel completely overwhelmed and you feel like you can never get enough done, like there's simply not enough time in the day? Do you feel like money is a challenge and it's a struggle to generate real income and real profits from your business efforts? Do you feel frustrated and confused by the amount of information that you've been going through? A typical case of information overload. You most likely lack clarity and focus as to what you should actually be doing on a daily and consistent basis. Do you feel like you're doing lots of things, keeping yourself busy, trying new things, but you feel like you're stuck, spinning your wheels and never making any progress? Do you sometimes feel like you've completely lost confidence, and perhaps sometimes you feel like this just will never work for you? If you can relate to just one or perhaps several of these situations right now in your business, then this will be the most important training that you go through right now. I encourage you to commit the time to go through this. Shut off any distractions, focus your attention, and please commit to completing this exercise. If you actually take the time and commit to completing this exercise, what you're going to get from this is a renewed clarity and sense of focus and understanding of who you are and where you are going. You will have a clear perspective of your business plan, of your outcomes, of your goals, and what you need to be doing on a daily and consistent basis to move forward. You will finally begin to experience flow in your business, where synchronistic events, people, situations, and opportunities will flow into your life. You will have a clear direction as to where you are going and what you need to do next, and a clear and focused strategy to achieve your goals. So let's talk about the importance of clarity and direction. Over the last few years, teaching and training thousands of entrepreneurs all around the world, what I've discovered is that many entrepreneurs have gained some sort of clarity as to where they want to go. As an entrepreneur, most likely, you've spent some time goal setting, figuring out what it is that you want to achieve in your business and in your life. Unfortunately, what I've discovered is that this simply is not enough. Frankly, it's impossible for you to successfully get to where you want to go until you're truly clear about where you are right now. This is a very important concept. I want to make sure that you clearly understand this because it's the focus of this entire training. So let me illustrate this for you. Let's say I gave you a map with clear directions to a buried treasure. Most likely you would assume that if you just had this map, your problems would be solved and you would have a clear direction as to how to get to this buried treasure, how to get to point B. Obviously, if you had this map, you would think that all you had to do was follow the directions and it would get you to exactly where you want to be, correct? That's actually false. You see, here's the problem. If I give you a simple map like this to follow that shows you exactly how to get to point B, exactly how to get to your goal, how to find that treasure, this map is actually useless if you don't know where you're starting from. You see, most people are trying to get from point A to point B. Perhaps they've even got clear as to what point B is, what it looks like, and where it is. Unfortunately, If you're not absolutely clear as to where you are starting from, you will never be able to get from point A to point B. Does that make sense? In other words, most entrepreneurs start out with good intentions. They start out with great ideas, and they think that they understand where they are headed. They jump onto an opportunity, a business idea. They're excited and passionate about it. But as time passes, things get complicated. They get overwhelmed. They hit obstacles, challenges, frustrations. And suddenly, you feel like you're a million miles away from where you intended to be. Can you relate to this? If you're anything like most entrepreneurs, I'm sure that you can, because all of us go through this situation at some point in our lives. You see, the problem is, the majority of entrepreneurs, most likely yourself, you've never gotten clear on where you are. And therefore, it's impossible to create a successful plan to get to where you want to be. From what I discovered, I truly believe that this is the single greatest challenge and obstacle that stops you from ever breaking through with your business. Right now, if you are not where you want to be as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a creator, I'm going to guess that the key reason for this is that you are not absolutely 100% clear on who you are, on where you're at, where you're starting from, and what specific things you need to change, what you need to work on in order to break through the obstacles and challenges that are holding you back and move forward. Now, you can keep trying to throw band-aids at the problem, throwing new marketing strategies, new techniques, new software, new gimmicks that you find online, chasing after the next solution, the next strategy. But none of this will work, as I'm sure you've seen, until you've gotten clarity. And I'm going to prove this to you. Let's change the focus a little bit, and let's talk about wealth creation. Do you realize that every single day, over $4 billion change hands as goods and services are exchanged for money? That's more than $1 million every single second. $1 million changes hands on every single second on a daily basis. Now let me ask you, how hard can it be to make $1 million if $1 million just flew by in that last second? Yet, why does wealth and success appear to be so elusive? Why do some people seem to create wealth effortlessly, while others struggle to even make a living? Now, many times I'm sure you've heard this before. If you want success, you find somebody who has it, and you simply do what they are doing. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as that. You see, you need to understand the contradictions of wealth creation. And I can almost guarantee that this is something no one has taught you. I want you to think about all the different wealth creators out there in the world today who are creating the largest amounts of wealth. If you look at each of these individuals and study them, it won't take you very long to discover that they actually seem to be doing very different things from each other. Think about it. Let's take Bill Gates as an example, the founder of Microsoft, one of the wealthiest men in the world at one point, with a staff of close to 60,000. Take another one, Warren Buffett, chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, one of the wealthiest men in the world, with a team of just 14. Let's look at Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group. He's become one of the best-known entrepreneurs with over 350 companies and 2 books. Now somebody completely different. J.K. Rowling's, author of the Harry Potter series. She's made a fortune in the last 8 years with 6 books and just 1 company. If you read their bios and take heed of their advice, you'll notice that their advice differs as much as their paths. Meg Whitman, CEO of eBay, one of the wealthiest women in America, she advocates always adapting to the customer's needs. While Henry Ford, creator of the Model T car, took that company to a phenomenal 48% market share. He said, a customer can have a car of any color they want as long as it's black. Completely opposite perspective. Warren Buffett insists on a detailed understanding of any company that he invests in, saying that risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Very different from, let's say, Ray Kroc, who built McDonald's, said, if you're not a risk taker, you should get the hell out of business. If you've spent any time trying to make money on the internet, trying to build an online business, no doubt you followed many different gurus or teachers, training courses. Perhaps you've been on lots of different seminars or webinars, read ebooks, studied courses. Do you notice something? Do you notice how so many of the gurus will tell you very different strategies, different concepts, different ideas, some of them completely contradictory? Who do we listen to? Whose principles should we follow if we want to build wealth? We see people creating wealth with online businesses, selling products, some selling information products, some doing training and coaching. Others are building wealth investing in real estate. Some are buying and flipping, doing short sales. Others are investing and creating rental properties and rental income. Still others are building tremendous wealth on the stock market, some trading stocks, some in Forex. Others only invest for the long term. Again, who do we listen to? Which path do we take? What principles do we follow? Should we spin off new companies and venture into new countries like Richard Branson? Or do we simply trade currencies like George Soros and save the airfare? How do you make sense of the many approaches to wealth creation? Each has different rules. Each has different strategies, different concepts, completely different principles. The reality is that making sense of the many approaches to wealth creation can be compared to making sense of different sports. Every sport has different rules, different teams, and different strategies. Only by understanding the games and the strategies and rules of that particular game can we understand what's being said. A soccer player says, kick the ball, don't pick it up, while the basketball player says, don't kick the ball, pick it up. You can only realize that they are not contradicting each other, they're just playing different games. Success in wealth creation comes simply from knowing which game to play, and then playing that game, and only that game. Each of us has a game that is most suited to our own natural habits and talents. Now the question is, how do we find out which game to play? What I want to introduce you to now is your personal path of least resistance. I want to show you the fastest way for you to find your flow. This is a concept, a simple tool, a personality test that will quickly assist you to discover your path of least resistance when it comes to building wealth. Now, before you pass this off as just another personality test, just remember that you committed at the beginning of this training to completing this exercise in order to finally gain clarity and focus in your business. Now, if you've done other personality tests, often you discover things that you already knew about yourself, whether you're extroverted or introverted, whether you're a big picture thinker or detail-oriented. And yes, these things are interesting and very important, but how does it clearly make a difference in your life? You see, Wealth Dynamics is the only personality test that tells you exactly what strategy you need to follow to build wealth. And that is exactly why I start every entrepreneur with this step and going through this process. Remember, you can't get to where you want to go unless you know exactly where you're starting from. With all the vastly different strategies, concepts, businesses, and investments that you can pursue right now, Wealth Dynamics narrows it down for you. Understand that successful entrepreneurs focus only where they are strong and find others to fill in their weaknesses, while unsuccessful entrepreneurs try and do it all themselves. Can you relate? You see, the real trick to building wealth is to maximize your natural strengths. It's the only way to overcome all of the challenges and obstacles that you will face along the way. Most people waste years of their life going through the process of trial and error, trying out different strategies, different money-making ideas to reach their goals, and then either quitting of frustration or losing it all and having to start all over from scratch. Through this simple process, you'll be able to take the trial and error right out of the equation. You'll be provided with a clear map that will guide you to your path to wealth, allowing you to identify which strategies, which steps you need to be focusing on, learning about, and taking action right now. The Wealth Dynamics Square is made up of 8 different profiles: the creator, the star, the supporter, the deal maker, the trader, the accumulator, the lord, and the mechanic. Now, if you think of the 8 profiles as 8 games that are as different as basketball is to football or football is to baseball, you can see that each one has very different rules, a different set of locations, different winning and losing formulas. The unique and incredibly powerful benefit of Wealth Dynamics is that it will allow you to isolate which game you should be playing. And all you need to do is make a commitment to one game and one game only. This is the one that will get you into flow. Mastery comes from consistently playing at one game until it becomes second nature. Once you discover which of the 8 games is your simplest path of least resistance, your quickest path to getting into flow, you will gain incredible clarity on what game is for you, and you'll instantly be able to recognize the times in your life when you tuned into your path and you were in flow, and the times when you were not. So let me give you my personal example. This is my personal profile report. My main wealth profile is the creator. You can see here my wealth dynamics graph. You can see that I am very strong in the dynamo quadrant at 52%, secondary only in the steel quadrant at 28%. You can see my strongest profiles are the creator and the mechanic, and my weakest are the trader, the deal maker, and supporter. A supporter could be easily defined as a manager, someone who has the ability to run businesses. A deal maker is obviously someone who can create deals, and a trader is one who can trade commodities, stocks, or companies. I will tell you that I have attempted to pursue each of these 3 strategies, and each time I have failed miserably. My quickest and easiest path to success is through the creator profile, the creator game. My strength is in creating new ideas, new concepts, new businesses, new opportunities, and then having other people run those businesses for me. The reason Richard Branson has over 300 companies is because he doesn't run a single one. He has discovered how to leverage people and systems, which I discovered is my greatest challenge. I discovered that if I simply focus on creating new ideas, improving existing ones, developing new systems as my mechanic, and focusing all of my energy and effort on developing systems and learning how to leverage people, that is my quickest path to wealth. And I can tell you, as soon as I began to focus on this game, on the rules of this game, and stopped even attempting to play in these other games, my results were instantly multiplied. Now, the entire profile and course that you receive as part of the package is too detailed to go through in this video, but I'll show you very quickly a few of the incredible benefits. Here's my primary profile in a nutshell. My wealth creation key is simply building a better product. That is my entire focus for wealth creation. My thinking dynamic is intuitive. I have a balance of both introvert and extrovert, and my dominant wealth frequency is dynamo. You can see my strengths outlined right here, and also my weaknesses. I have an incredibly poor sense of timing. That's why trading stocks was an absolutely horrible mistake for me, and one that I should have never ventured into. I'm easily distracted and terrible at getting things finished. This is why I outsource almost every single task and project that I need to get completed. I can only have success when I am free to create, with a team to promote and a team to watch the details. I excel when I'm focused on the big picture strategy and the creative process, but not on the minutia details of getting tasks completed. This clearly outlines for me my best role in teams, my worst roles in teams, my best roles in life, and my worst roles in life. And if I want to learn from other creators, take advice from wealth creators who have specific advice for my game, who play by my rules, these are the people I should listen to and learn from. Again, once you know what game you're playing, the whole process becomes so much simpler. You know what to focus on, you know which rules to play by. My profile report comes with 2 case studies, this one on Walt Disney and also on Richard Branson. It gives me a clear wealth creation strategy, how to build my foundation, my moment of wealth creation, how to create value, how to own that value, how to gain leverage, and how to secure cash flow. In addition to that, you will also get a clear profile description of your secondary profile, in this case, my mechanic. Again, this clearly helps you to identify your strengths and your weaknesses, your successes and your failures. And most importantly, Wealth Dynamics is built on the simple principle that if you focus on your strengths and not your weaknesses, you'll be able to get into flow. You will learn all about the 8 wealth profiles and the 5 frequencies. Each of the primary profiles is based on the balance of our frequencies, which were first identified in the Chinese Book of Changes, the I Ching. Each of these 4 frequencies is a state of change, just like the 4 seasons. And you'll be able to discover how much of each frequency you hold. This balance determines which of the 8 games that you will be able to play most naturally, the one that creates the greatest resonance and harmony with your natural frequencies. It's a simple equation. The more time we invest in harmony with our strongest frequency, the sooner we get into flow. You'll also learn about the 5 aspects of vision: perspective, perception, clarity, color, and insight. You'll also discover effective operating systems, because each of the 5 frequencies require a different foundation to flourish. If you put yourself into an environment that doesn't suit your individual profile, all of your success will be short-lived, which is why you hear all those stories of people making money and then losing it quickly. These are the emotional needs linked to each of our 5 frequencies. For instance, a dynamo needs significance, growing. Tempo needs connection, slow. Steel needs certainty, know. Blaze needs variety, glow. And spirit needs growth and contribution, flow. You will also discover leadership styles. Each frequency has a leadership style that comes naturally. Dynamo is task-based. Blaze is people-based. Tempo is activity-based. Steel is data-based. You will learn about team roles and cycles, the best team roles for each profile, and the origins of talent dynamics. Your next step is simple. Head on over to thewealthprofile.com and take your test. Find your flow as an entrepreneur. I can tell you I've taken dozens of personality tests. Not one of them has created such significance as this one. Your investment of $97 will pay for itself 10 times. It's time to discover your path to least resistance, your unique strategy for creating wealth.